everyone. Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of the SpookNotes podcast, where we get academic about everything that goes bump in the night. My name is Reek, this is Sneak, and on today's episode, we are going to be talking about The Nun and our first impressions of it.
Yeah, so first off, I'm Connor. This is
Marlayna here.
This is Marlayna. So today we're going to do another first impressions episode. It is exactly like how we did our Hereditary episode a few months back, where basically me and Marlayna just finished seeing The Nun in theaters approximately 35 minutes ago.
Yep, we hit the movies, and now we're here to do a podcast for you guys.
Exactly. So these are our very first impressions of the movie. We just finished it. And as always, as we did with the last episode, Marlon has not heard my thoughts, and I have not heard hers. We went totally silent in the car ride
I literally just ate popcorn the whole time so I wouldn't talk, you know?
So, we're going to give our impressions of the movie, obviously.
Obviously, yep.
So, Marlena, what did you think of The Nun?
It was terrible. No, I'm kidding. It was good. I wouldn't say it was the best movie that I've ever seen.
Okay.
However, there are some elements within the movie that I really, really did like, and elements that I really, really did not like.
Okay.
I don't know. Would you like me to go more in depth about it and then share your opinion, or how are we going to do this?
How would I? Well, I'll tell you right now. Now that you said it was good.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was okay.
Jesus.
So I'm probably a little bit down from you.
Okay, on a scale of like 1...
Well, we'll do our ratings at the very end once we discuss it.
Jesus, that idea was shut down.
But I thought it was okay.
Okay.
So tell me what you thought. Tell me what your thoughts.
Well, okay. What I liked about the movie was the atmosphere and the setting it was filmed in.
That's the exact same thing I was going to say.
Wow, this is going to be a really short podcast then. I don't know, I just liked the architecture of like the buildings because I'm all into that spooky shit.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely all like the different, I don't know, just objects in the movie, like the props and the crosses. I mean, like
there's the set decoration and design was very good.
Yeah, I really like that. It definitely created a very, gothic.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is I liked it because it did have that gothic setting, which is something that we hadn't seen before in one of the Conjuring movies. Because all the other Conjuring movies basically take place in America in the 60s, 70s kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So going to Romania in this gothic castle was such a different setting that I really like that. And then, but that kind of thing, it does lend itself to, you're right, kind of that creepy atmosphere. And it reminded me a lot of just and I know I say this a lot, so you'll probably laugh, but of just kind of the old Universal classic movies.
Yeah.
Of just people walking through graveyards that are filled with fog and stuff. And
well, definitely the first thing I thought of when I saw the castle was Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh yeah, it definitely had that kind of vibe to it, or even what I thought of too as well. I thought it had a lot of beats from this that you could say are similar. Was Nosferatu.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Well, they can kind of go hand in hand.
Exactly. So. But the idea that they arrive in this village and then they get the villagers who are kind of suspicious of the castle to take them in a horse and buggy ride to the castle, but the horse only goes so far.
Dude, I'm serious. The second they were in that horse and buggy, I know you want to say something. Just wait. Yeah, when they're in the horse and buggy just trolleying along, I was like, oh my god, this is literally Dracula. Exactly. So yeah, okay.
Well, I was just gonna quickly say, sorry, before we get any further, we should probably mention spoilers.
Yeah, so
we're going to talk about this entire movie from beginning to end. So
if you don't want it ruined for yourself, we highly suggest you go and see the movie
first before you listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
So how about we do this, Marlon? Quickly, for people who want to see the movie first, very quickly, would you recommend this movie or not? Before we get into more spoilery territory, just a simple yes or no.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd say yes too.
Yeah.
Okay. So now that the people who want to see the movie first are gone, let's get into more spoilers. So, like you said, it is very reminiscent of Dracula, that they come to the castle and then something bad happens to them while they stay there. And also the idea that they kind of are staying overnight, and at first things seem maybe like inviting, but then it's not quite what it seems. It definitely had that Dracula feel to it.
And, well, for me anyways, I read the novel by Horace Walpole, The Castle of Otranto. Like, honestly, I was just making connections to that, because they're essentially just pulling from the Gothic archetype the entire time. I don't know. I was just looking at the style that they filmed it in, and definitely, like, the setting and the environment was very Gothic in its nature. I don't know. I was just... I really like that, so...
Yeah, I like it because it was different than what we've seen before in the other Conjuring movies, and it did have a good atmosphere that I felt lent itself to some good scares. Like, that's the thing. Even though I said this movie was just okay, I did think it had some good scares, and I think it got us both a few times.
Well, it got you more than it did me. I noticed, like, within the first 5 minutes, you're like, oh my god, ooh, spook. And
yeah, I did not do that.
I'm sitting there
obviously
this
I jumped. Fine.
Oh yeah, I know.
And you jumped too.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I am impervious to spook.
Yeah. Okay, so is there anything else that you liked about the movie?
Well, I definitely like the choice of lead actress, just because it's I don't know if the actress is in
the actress in the first two Conjuring movies. Her name's I think it's Vera Farmiga.
Yeah.
And then this is her sister Tessa Farmiga.
Yeah, I definitely like that. That was kind of cool.
I didn't like that.
Really?
I mean, I thought the actress did a fine job. She was also in an American Horror Story and other things. But the thing I didn't like about it was the casting of her in this movie, in my opinion, created a problem in the movie.
Why? Because
I was expecting... because she looks like her sister a lot, too.
No, she does. Version. She does, yeah.
And then the other thing about it, as you discover in this movie, this is where the spoilers come in, that she has, like, these visions and these powers, like, to see things and stuff. So the entire time I was expecting, so she's going to be, like, an ancestor of...
Lorraine Warren.
Lorraine Warren. She's going to be, like, a family member. Like, at the end, she's going to be, like, I should tell my cousin about this back in the States or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I thought that's definitely what it was, leading to. And then when it didn't and there was no connection, I was like, oh, this is kind of weird.
Maybe that's given an opportunity for, the Conjuring 4 or 3.
3.
I don't even know.
I don't know, maybe, but I mean, I just thought
because they're all connected, so
yeah, I don't know. But that's the thing because they are connected. I thought that there would be this connection, but there wasn't. So it was kind of weird to me.
Well, it's open-ended, Connor. They didn't close that option for you.
Yeah. So you like the lead actress?
I did. Like I said, I mentioned before, the environment that was really good.
Anything else you like?
Not really.
Not really?
No.
I mean,
well, actually, wait, no. Well, some of the scares were good. I'd have to give it to that. Some of the scares were good.
Yeah, I going into things, I liked everything you said. Like you said, the scares were good. I thought some of just kind of like the sequences in the movie were good. Like, one that I thought was really effective was when the priest falls into the coffin.
Oh yeah.
And then Tessa Farmiga has to dig him out. I thought for sure he was going to die, so it definitely created that tension for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was a really good sequence. Another one that I actually really liked was when Frenchie was in the graveyard for the first time when that nun falls on him.
Yeah, that was
pretty scary.
Yeah.
I don't know. Other than that, I thought there was a few other good parts, but I mean, I don't know. Should we get into the things we didn't like so much?
I guess so, because I feel like
we're running out of...
Yeah, we both want to.
Maybe this is not a good sign when you're running out of good things to say that quickly.
Well, we both said it was okay. It was
okay. So what? Okay. So what didn't you like about it?
I just thought it was very predictable. For instance, a lot of the jump scares, for God's sakes, you could predict them. She turned around, boom, there's Valak right there in your face. Didn't see that coming.
And I mean, I would definitely agree with that 100%. That it was predictable. But I think what also made it more predictable is I feel like these Conjuring movies kind of have a format and like a blueprint kind of to their movies.
It's just a set plot, like,
and so you kind of know what's going to happen, and then you know where the scares are in the format of the story. There was only one part of the story where I was actually kind of surprised, and it actually did a cool twist for me that I actually liked. So I guess this is another thing I like. But when after the sequence where she's praying and Valak is scratching the pentagram into her, when she lets the priests in, and then they find out that all the nuns have actually been dead, and that she's just been seeing them all. I thought that was actually an interesting twist that I didn't see coming.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, like, I just think that it was too close to all the other Conjuring movies in terms of you could tell what was going to happen, you could tell what the scares were, and it just. And just in the visual style, I feel like I've seen all this before.
Yeah.
Especially because you literally have seen Valak before in Conjuring 2.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I don't know. I just thought the backstory for this was just kind of weak. It was just very weak. Like, I don't know. I was very excited for this movie because I love the first 2 Conjuring movies and some of the Annabelle movies that we saw. Like, I really enjoy them. So, I don't know. I kind of set the bar a little bit too high for myself going into this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely think, like, Valak, like the nun, I don't know. Personally, for me, I love that. I love that. And I was kind of let down.
But here's my question for you. Do you love her character, like, of the nun, or do you love, like, the image of the nun?
I think both. Like,
Okay.
I love the image because it's just, like, creepy. Like, this demonic nun. I like that. Because it's very eerie and offsetting. But
for me, one of the things, if you're talking about plot and stuff, that I almost laughed out loud at in the movie was when they give the exposition backstory that one nun is talking to Tessa Farmiga, and she's just like, oh yeah, there was a guy who wanted to bring the devil to Earth, so he made a castle, and then he was doing it, and then we killed him, and then we trapped the evil there, and that was that.
Yeah, no, I thought I thought that was so stupid. I'm like, dude, you could have made this so good, so rich of a story. And it was like 30 seconds, boom, bada bang, done, none. And I'm like, the fuck?
Like, I almost laughed because I'm like, it was just like, oh, okay, so that's just
and she was like nonchalantly saying, yeah, well, this is what happened.
And then now we have to pray forever to keep the evil in. It's like, all right.
This is fine.
I don't know, that part was weird to me. Another aspect of the plot that, I mean, I certainly had trouble with, I don't know about you, but because obviously we've seen The Conjuring 2, and we know that Valak is in it, and Valak is, does stuff, and then Lorraine Warren eventually uses the name against the demon, and that's how she traps him.
Yeah.
Because you knew all that, you know that this movie can't end with them trapping them. So you going into it, you know that it's not going to work, and that something is going to happen.
Come back, yeah.
And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So there was no
just
surprise
kind of
to
the
me.
point.
I feel like you already knew the ending of the movie before you've even seen it.
Yeah. No,
which kind of ruined it for me.
Yeah.
Because there was no real stakes. Because I'm like, no matter what they do, that Valak has to come back.
Yeah.
So what's the point?
I don't know. Like, honestly, I could have gone the entire movie like without the the little non-nun yet, and more of like the backstory of Valak. That's what I thought the movie was gonna be about. But it was just like, oh yeah, like, sup guys, I'm these dudes from the Vatican. We're gonna go sort out some spooky shit. Yeah. I don't know. I just thought it was such a stupid plot. Like, I'm really sorry.
Agree.
Like, I'm making it sound like I absolutely hated this movie.
But
I didn't. Like, there was stuff I liked. I liked the setting and the imagery and stuff like that. But the plot was shit, in my opinion.
That's, to me, the kind of problem with the Conjuring movies. Is I think that the main ones, like The Conjuring 2, really are good and actually have a pretty strong plot and characters. Like, the Warrens are characters that you can invest in and and kind of attach yourself to. And that's what I like about those movies. But I feel like the other, the spin-off movies, like the 2 Annabelle movies and now the Nun movie, kind of fall off from there because you feel like you're watching a B story or a side story, and you feel like you're not watching the main like point of it, and you're like, okay, well.
And like even though they're all like connected in a way, they're all connected to the main movies, which are the Conjuring films.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that's the other thing about this movie. I mean, I noticed is that there really wasn't a lot of connections. I thought to the other
Conjuring. Well, like
obviously Valak's in it, but like I mean, I remember when we saw Annabelle Creation. We should also say that there's 5 movies now: the 2 Conjuring movies, 2 Annabelle movies, and now the Nun. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen the first Annabelle movie.
No, we saw
just everything the second
else.
One.
Yeah, and everything else.
So. Yeah, but anyways, when we're watching Annabelle Creation, you know, there is that part where there's like those pictures of like all the nuns, and they're like, "Oh, what's that one?" You know, setting it up. But there was nothing like that in this movie.
For any other movies that were to come.
Because I thought for sure there was going to be kind of a... Because I know the next... I mean, obviously they're making a Conjuring 3 and like probably an Annabelle 3. Mm. But I also know that they're making... the next one is they're making a Crooked Man spinoff.
Yeah.
Which I'm actually really excited for.
Yeah, no, me too. But like I said, like I get myself all hyped up for these movies.
But I thought there was going to be some sort of connection to that.
I guess it's a different era than it... Like, well, okay, the... second Conjuring movie, that was set in the 80s? 70s?
No, it would have been, I think it was the 70s. Because it was based on the Enfield poltergeist.
Yeah, no, I know.
Which I think happened during the 70s.
But then this movie was plotted in the...
50s.
50s. So how could it give... Whatever, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Anything else you didn't like so much?
Okay, so we talked about the jump scares, we talked about the plot...
There's something that I mean,
wait,
for me...
I got one. I hated the character Frenchie. Like, they were just trying to throw this guy in there to be funny, like this comedic relief. And I'm like, God, why? Why is this guy here?
See, you know? Because I know for you, I know that you kind of like your horror more serious.
I do. Like, I like being funny, and I, you know, like to think I'm a very funny person. But,
you like your horror serious.
Well, yeah, straight. And especially with all James Wan films, like they usually are.
Well, James Wan didn't direct this movie.
No, he didn't?
No.
Are you sure?
He just directs the main Conjuring movies.
No, I saw his name somewhere in the freaking credits.
Well, he may have been a producer or something, but he did not direct this.
Oh, okay. I thought he did. That's why I really enjoyed like the atmosphere of the movies and stuff.
No.
Well, I don't know, guys.
I mean, for me, one of the things that I was going to mention that's a problem for me, and I guess I probably should have realized this going into the movie, but I didn't, was, for me, I don't like the character of Valak. I don't think she's that scary.
Yeah? Well, you know who's going to haunt you tonight.
Because all she does is really, she only does one or two things.
She spoofs around.
She either stands there and moves creepily, or she yells at you. Those are the only 2 things she does.
Sounds a little bit like me.
To me, I much preferred Annabelle Creation. And I like the character of Annabelle better because there's so many things that you can do with that.
There's like unpredictability.
There's the puppet idea. There's like an evil ghost in that movie. There's a crazy woman. There's like the scarecrow monster in that movie. Yeah. There's all these different things. Whereas with the Nun, I feel like you can only do so much with that like kind of concept.
I know, but I kind of like I find that's very off-putting, especially like the one scene where she's standing at the end of the hallway and she just like slowly glides. But I find that so spooky and I love it. But yeah, no, I definitely see where you're coming from because after a while it's like, okay, like stop floating around, you know, and do something besides scream at me.
And then, so the other main problem I had with this movie, I don't know exactly how to describe it, except to say this. It felt, at points, too much like a video game.
Okay, I was not expecting that. Do explain.
So, especially, this is the problem I had, especially after that scene where she's praying and all that stuff happened. I thought up to then, the movie was pretty good. After that scene, for the rest of the movie, I think it's all downhill. I think the movie should have ended there.
Oh, okay.
When they discovered like that
all the nuns
weren't there because I thought that was a cool twist.
Yeah.
And then like, we have to get out of here, you know, before the evil consumes us or whatever. And then maybe they have one final kind of scary sequence when they're trying to get out.
Yeah.
to me, that's where the movie should have ended. After that, when they're like, we have to, go down to the catacombs and seal her in, didn't work for me at all because A, you knew that it wasn't going to work because Valak's in the next movie.
Yeah.
And B, because it literally felt like a video game. So she's like, Tessa Farmiga's like, oh, I'm going to take my vows now. And it felt like she was leveling up. Like, it felt like a montage that would be like in a Rambo movie when he's like getting ready for battle. But instead, it's like she's getting her holy vows. And then they go and they find the blood of Jesus Christ, which was so ridiculous to me.
Guys, we were like freaking laughing in the theater at this. It was just so.
Because it felt like a video game. When you get like a powerful item, you need to defeat the boss.
That's true.
And then there was like the final
blood of Jesus Christ.
It was like the final boss battle. Oh, we need to go and defeat Valak
with our Jeebus juice.
And I don't know. It's just it felt like a video game, and I didn't like that because it like I said, everything was so predictable. From when Frenchie comes in and like saves the day, to when they get out and say, oh, it's all fine, but of course it's not. I really think the movie should have ended after the scene where she is praying, because I thought up to that point, I would have said this movie was a good movie, and I would really recommend that people see it because I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
After that, it really brought it down.
No, I definitely think you're right. Just end on a twisted note, and then you'll be good, right? Mm-hmm. Because then you kind of like make people think. I don't know.
So, I mean, I don't know. That was that for me. Do you have anything else to say about this movie?
Not really.
And I think that really, that in itself says something. Yeah. Because when you don't have much to say about a movie, it means that it wasn't that good.
Because I remember when we saw the movie Hereditary, and I was like so excited just to like spew it all out, like everything that I thought, like any possible theories in the movie. Like I'd already thought of this stuff. But with this movie, it's like what you see is what you get, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Like there's no deeper meaning behind things like that. And those are the kind of movies that I enjoy. Like I really enjoyed the movie Hereditary and like The Babadook, like all like movies that have like deeper meaning to them and that you can kind of analyze and break down based on whatever opinion you have. Mm-hmm. But I feel like this movie was just like, I don't know, didn't really have anything else critical to it.
That's the thing, is that it really comes down to one thing for me, is originality. Yeah. This movie didn't feel original. It felt like all the other Conjuring movies. It felt like something I've seen before. It had no new ideas. I feel like I've seen Valak do scary things before, so what's the point here? Whereas, in Hereditary, for example, there is so many new ideas, and even though it takes from other movies like Rosemary's Baby or, The Exorcist even, or even The Shining, it still felt new, and it felt like engaging, and it engaged me in the plot and the characters. It made me care about them, which made it in turn more scary, because when you yourself are connected to the plot more, you are going to be more scared by the things that happen.
That's true.
And this movie,
it kind of distances you, because it's like, well, you really don't have any element that you can relate to.
Yeah.
Which
is why I think they put the character of Frenchie in there to try to give you something to relate to. But even then, it didn't really work.
I was like, yeah.
That's why I think that the main Conjuring movies are better than the spin-offs, because in those movies, it does feel more original, and it feels like a story you haven't seen before, and then it introduces all these new characters. Like, if you think about it, Annabelle, was first introduced in the first Conjuring movie, obviously, mm-hmm. and then she got her spin-offs, which weren't as good, and then now Valak was introduced in the second Conjuring movie, and, it's pretty effective in there, and I think we really liked her in that. But now, it's not so much.
Well, yeah, it's just like, it's nothing new.
Yeah. That's why I'm excited for the third Conjuring movie, to see what they do with that.
Also, I think with like the Conjuring movies, I think why we like them so much is because they are, quote unquote, loosely based on real life events.
That's a good point.
And people like that shit, like myself included. I love learning about Ed and Lorraine Warren, and definitely like the Amityville Horror and Annabelle and like all that stuff.
The Enfield Poltergeist.
Yeah. because they're real events. Like, they have some basis, some grain of truth in that. And that's what, kind of draws in your audience. But with Valak, like, I don't know, I haven't done too much research on fucking demonology.
Pretty sure she's not real.
Yeah, and even if she was, it's like, that type of stuff, it's like, because there's no documented cases of, like, yes, this has happened, I have interacted with such thing, like, you can't make that connection.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sure people do get possessed by demons, but you can't really...
That's another thing, can I say?
Yeah.
It has been a long time since I've been scared of an exorcism in a movie. They just don't do it for me anymore. Same. Because it's always the same thing. It's a person tied up, screaming like weird demonic sounds, and a priest with a cross saying some stuff. And it's like, I'm tired of exorcism scenes in movies. I wish we didn't have any more. I wish it could just be a ghost or a demon. I wish it didn't have to possess somebody.
Well, yeah. Also, okay, this is maybe getting into just like straying away from movie opinions and more so personal opinions. I think exorcisms are fucking bullshit. Literally, I don't think that anybody gets possessed by a demon. I think it's like some mental health issue.
Oh, yeah.
And they make themselves believe that they are possessed by a demon because, we are smarter than we look. And our minds are capable of more complex things that we may not know of at the moment. So, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we're just too smart of people now,
yeah,
Connor.
I don't think so.
Yes, we are.
All right. Anything else about The Nun?
I got nothing left to say. I don't know what the hell I was kind of...
That was bad.
That was...
So, okay, so what's your ranking? Are we doing it out of 10?
Yeah, 10. How many pumpkins would you give it out of 10 pumpkins?
How many nun gowns would you give it out of 10?
They're called habits, Connor.
Whatever. How many habits would you give it out of 10?
Like 3.
Really?
Yeah. Now when we kind of dissect this movie more and more.
Even though you said you like the atmosphere and the scares.
Yeah, so a third of the movie I liked, and that was because of the environment.
All right.
What would you give it?
I would give it higher than you, actually.
Really?
Because I think 3 is too low. Because I did think, like I said, I did think, in terms of just a horror movie, I did think it was effective in some parts, and I thought that it scared me, and it had some cool, creepy imagery. I would give it a 5.
Wow, okay. So it's like 50% good then.
That's not the way I see it.
Okay. Maybe I change my ranking. I give it 3 habits and like some prayer beads. The prayer beads represent like a half. So basically 3.5.
Okay, so 3.5 and a 5?
Yeah. No, out of 5? No, out of 10.
No, and a 5.
And a 5, yeah.
So there you go. So out of 20, the SpookNotes podcast is giving The Nun 8.5 out of 20.
So it failed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, there you
go. Jesus Christ. Like, we started, it wasn't so bad. It fucking 3 stars.
Let me put it this way. I would recommend this movie, A, if you like the other Conjuring movies, then I think you have to see it.
Yeah.
B, if you just kind of want a movie with a lot of jump scares to put on the background, if you're like on a date or something with, a girl or a boy, and you just kind of want to get close and watch a spooky movie, then this would be something you can watch because there's not a lot of higher thinking. Like
dating advice.
Like, for example, like Hereditary is an infinitely better movie than this.
It's an intellectual horror
But I would
movie.
not watch Hereditary on a date with somebody.
Well, also, like, unless you're really into horror movies and want to, like, think about them from a more academic perspective.
Analytical.
Like, analytical and shit, like we do, don't watch it. Because it's, like, it's spooky, but you just...
Well, Hereditary?
Yeah.
I would still recommend it.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. But like I said, I wouldn't recommend it if you're just going on a date. Then that's a weird movie to watch on a date.
That's right. Hey, this is my favorite movie ever. You want to watch it with me?
It's about a guy's sister.
Insane.
Getting killed. All right. So there you go. There's The Nun for you.
There you
go. SpookNotes podcast gives it an 8.5 out of 20. And we say, don't watch unless you are a fan of the Conjuring movies or unless you want
or you're going on a hot date.
Yeah. And you just want jump scares.
That's right.
All right, well,
I think we're going to kind of wrap up this podcast.
Yeah, Marlayna, where can they find us?
Well, as always, you can find us on iCloud, that's new. iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube, all under the name SpookNotes.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any comments, concerns, and suggestions,
if you want to tell us what you thought of them,
you can always reach us at spooknotes@gmail.com. Feel free to send us some nice things. Yeah. So, do you have anything else to add?
Nope. I think that's it.
All right. Well,
this has been SpookNotes.
And don't forget to cite the SpookNotes.
Bye.
Bye.